Everlyn Hunter immigrated to the United States at age 14. Her educational training includes master's and doctoral degrees in psychology, with specializations in clinical child and school psychology, as well as Stanford University's doctoral psychology fellowship training. Everlyn is also a graduate of Vancouver Film School's writing program. Her awards include a Platinum Best in Show Aurora Award and a Bronze Addy Award for her regionally televised PSA K-9 Connections. Everlyn currently lives in Los Angeles, where she works as a school psychologist in the public school system, and she works on publishing her first novel, which is way cool, and I think you need to get your title to Beth so Beth can all tell us what it is and we can read it. So.
I actually wanted to speak about hope, but Beth said, I pick you for integrity. So. Sorry. So in thinking of a story, it was a little difficult because part of the definition of integrity is what you do when no one's looking. And so it's kind of hard to do that and not humble brag. So the story that I decided to tell is one where I wasn't looking, in addition to other people weren't looking. Go back to when I graduated from undergrad on the East Coast, Penn State University. I sold everything, and with $250 in my pocket, I moved to Oakland, California, because at the time, grad school was way cheaper on the West Coast than it was on the East Coast, and that's sort of what I wanted to do. Well, get there, and I had to have a job. So, the highest paying job that an advertising major could get, who didn't want to work in advertising, before the days, of the days Mad Men. I mean, there I was, black, lesbian and female, so clearly not Mad Men material, right? Wanted to be a copywriter. So the best job I could get was a substitute teacher. It paid well at the time. And so I started doing it. Well, Oakland public schools. So fast forward a little bit more, and I was offered a long-term substitute position in a school in East Oakland called Markham Elementary School. At the time, East Oakland was considered the murder capital of the United States in terms of the number of murders per capita. So the kids in Markham Elementary, I would say probably 95% had all at least witnessed one drive-by shooting in their life. So these were kids who were traumatized multiply. So I was given a 5th grade class because the teacher had gone out on maternity leave and sort of thrown into the water. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to teach. I had few textbooks. The textbooks that we had were old. The teacher had left no lesson plans. And so here I was in a 5th grade class being asked to teach 32 kids. And I had no idea what to do. So my fallback was they looked like me. And I figured the best that I could do was, the arithmetic and some of the algebra that I knew, and I could teach them to read. And other than that, I could maybe give them a little bit of hope and teach them to organize their lives. That was all I had. So some of the kids, the challenges I'll tell you about. There was one kid, Ricky. Ricky had problems. Ricky was the kid in the classroom who was crawling on the floor, barking like a dog, just running up and down the aisles. I kicked Ricky out of class just about every day. No one knew what to do with him. mostly me, and never solved the problem. Ricky was in fights every day. There was Aaron, the good kid, the kid who knew everything, so I got him to help the other kids. There was Edward and Geneva, the two darkest skinned kids in the class, who had a habit of playing their version of the Dozens about You're So Black. So I had to keep interrupting that. But Edward couldn't read. But by the end of the time there, I essentially had gotten him to like reading, so he would get up in front of the class every day and want to read as best he could. I remember one kid, when she got the theory of multiplication of single, digits, that was like a great moment. So anyway, fast forward, the teacher comes back. I walk away. At the time, I felt pretty much like a failure. I had been going home every day, kind of falling into bed, getting up in the same clothes that I went to bed in, coming back in, because I needed a job. And this was a job that paid. Moving ahead, fast forwarding again, it is now the time for me to defend my dissertation. I had moved back east, and I took a red-eye flight back to Oakland. I graduated from the University of San Francisco. And on the flight, I got really sick, and I walked off the flight, and I'm in the breezeway. And I'm walking up the breezeway, I'm in sweats, I look like crap. And I hear a male voice say, "Miss Hunter." And I thought, this is not the time for somebody to be flirting. So I just kept walking. I didn't even think about it, I just kept walking. And then I heard somebody say, "Miss Hunter," a little bit more insistently. And I ignored it again, I kept walking. And then the voice said, "Miss Hunter, you were the best teacher I ever had." And it stopped me in my tracks. I'm tearing up. It stopped me in my tracks, and I turned around, and there was this young man standing there. And I didn't recognize him. And he walked up to me, and he said it again. He said, "Miss Hunter, you're the best teacher I ever had at Markham Elementary." And suddenly his face kind of came into focus, and he said, "I'm Keelan. I'm Keelan." And the name kind of triggered me, and I realized that this was the little fat kid in the middle of the room who I had overlooked. He wasn't Aaron, he wasn't Ricky, he wasn't any of those kids. He was the kid who I didn't even think I was having an impact on. And so I gave him a hug, and we hugged, and, I said, "How are you doing?" And he looked at me and he said, "Some of us are doing okay. Some of us have jobs." And I asked about Ricky, and he said, "Ricky's in jail." And a few of the other kids. And it was a profound moment for me. Because while I think in terms of the theme of integrity, I had no idea what I was doing. All I knew that I had was, one, the certainty that these were kids who looked like me and to whom I wanted to do good with whatever little I had. And amazingly, it happened. So that's my story.
Wow.